Good morning, afternoon, evening, paracausal pals. This is Erico Blueberry. It's an unassuming Destiny podcast. My name is chillybin.
I'm Meckii.
I realized that I can never guess when someone might choose to watch or listen to the show, and I'd already in my brain started saying good morning. So apologies if that
Even
was
though it's nighttime at
yeah,
the
that
time of recording.
that was also the thing that threw me. Is we're sitting here, it's like 9 p.m. In our local time zone on a Thursday, and this comes out on a Sunday morning. So time zones are deeply confusing, um, and especially confusing when you try to make computers understand them. I'm a software
Excel.
engineer. They suck, dude.
Excel struggles to understand time zones at the best of times.
I think my favorite Venn diagram is one where the crossover is Excel and incels, and the bit in the middle is incorrectly assuming something is a date. It's
It's
just
very good.
it's so good. I've sent that to many people in the last year. For some reason, incels are topical again. Excel less so.
Ugh, ugh.
Anyway,
Unless you're a woman in software, in which case both are relevant all year round.
yeah, they are evergreen. It turns out, but that aside, we're here to try and talk about Destiny 2. And I say try because neither of us have played a whole lot of it in the last week and change.
Yeah. I logged on to spend Bright Dust.
Mm.
Didn't
But
spend it.
you can acquire
Nothing
you
really
can acquire
appealed.
Bright Dust every week. You get 700
Yay.
new ones.
Now I have 30,000 Bright Dust.
Yeah, mine's something like that as well.
There are some things that I know are coming up because I've checked out. As much as I hate API scrapers, I've checked out the Braytech, the one that tracks when something should be coming up
Yeah,
on
I don't think it's part of Braytech, but it's like there's a website
something
dedicated
like that.
to what's coming up in the store.
Yeah.
I
So I've
mean,
been keeping an eye on that.
I do appreciate that service because it if you don't want or can't to spend money on silver, I said that really weird, but you know what I mean. If you're unable to or choose not to engage with buying silver, the paid microtransaction currency, often those things will come around on the Bright Dust store. You just have to wait. So a service like that will help you not spend money where you don't want to.
Yeah. I mean, it'll, except for the plot leaking and dungeon leaking, those kind of harmless little side things like
Yeah.
Dim and Braytech, and I feel like the one I go to is named after um Ishtar.
Well, there's this
Maybe.
Ishtar Collective, but that's like a lore community.
Yeah.
I think it is just something about
Um,
Eververse store in the name because
yeah.
that's all it looks at.
I had them all bookmarked somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I kept trying to hype myself up to go into the Fireteam Finder and kept bitching out.
Yeah, I took a look at it maybe a couple of weeks ago when it was like the first week of Pantheon had come out, and it's just like clicking through the menus just to see what it presented me with in terms of options, and then it showed me like a list of fire teams, and it showed me all the tags, and I clicked on one expecting it to show me information about that fire team because it was just like here's essentially a server list. And then I clicked on it, and it looked like it started loading, and I got scared, and I backed out of the whole thing. So I was like, there was no confirmation to be like, do you want to attempt to join this fire team? I didn't know what it was doing, but it was the first time I touched it, and I was like, what is happening?
Screaming, smashing the escape key.
Yeah, and it's also because my audio setup is maybe a little bit more involved than most people playing games on their PC. I'm not just using a headset that's plugged into a USB port. It's like I would have to tweak some settings probably because I've never done game audio microphone audio through Destiny. It's always through Discord, where I have a lot more control over it and the ability, like in Discord, to test your microphone and work out like what your volume level is. But I don't think you can really do that well through Destiny. So there's a whole thing there that is unknown to me as well, on top of just social anxiety.
The days of playing Call of Duty and one of your mates is for some reason 700 times louder than everyone else without intending to be.
Yeah, because they're taking like one of those original Xbox headset mics and just like jam that shit in their mouth.
The old Halo days of the Turtle Beach fucking
Yeah.
fighter pilot sounding ass.
Yeah, that's it. And like I've got a lot of control over my audio here, but having to route it through a game removes a bunch of the like software level control that I typically enjoy.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a bit there. I'm like, I don't want to accidentally end up in a fire team without like knowing what I'm getting into. And also,
But you don't want to be running 2 weeks of Onslaught singing to yourself only to realize 2 weeks in that your mic was on the whole time in game. Apologies if you ever matched up with me in Onslaught and you just heard me singing the whole time.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to avoid. God.
I am so scared of running into those people again.
I mean, it's like with enough time, it just becomes a funny story. If they can remember exactly what you said or the songs you sang, then that's maybe different. But if it's like, oh yeah, you're that person who like also got caught up with this settings change that they made global for everybody.
It would have been a lot of health.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you can't have been the only one that like that happened to.
Yeah, surely.
Because the way the settings were worded were misleading. Because it sounded like it was like you still have to opt into the voice chat. It's not just you're auto joining. Like the default settings made it sound like you would need to press a button or something to actively join.
It's so wild that setting changed to me though, out of nowhere.
Well, it changed for everybody. They made that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it's so wild that just changed, and they were just like, "Oh, by the way."
Yeah, they decided that was a good idea. It's just to globally change that setting for everybody.
Me singing and talking in my baby voice to Sergey. Rip. Hopefully, no one who experienced that finds this podcast and is like, this bitch.
You're like a quarter of the way through a strike and you hear someone go, oh, he's just a little guy. What are you doing?
You've heard the way, you've heard the way I talk to Sergey. Hello.
What are you yelling at?
That's not for you.
Just like, what are you on about? You don't pay rent. It's like, I'm doing a strike.
They would have definitely heard me tell Sergey he owes me money on more than one occasion.
Where's my fucking money?
That's my go-to with that dog, because anytime he sasses me, I'm like, you owe me money.
Yeah.
You live here for free.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
What could you have a problem with?
Neighbors. Ethnicities.
They're not allowed to exist.
Yeah. Anyway, aside from me implying your dog is a racist,
I gave him a Russian name, like.
So Destiny. 0 Hour is out. You and I have not played it, so we can't talk about that. I also have yet.
But we will.
Yeah, I also have yet to do any Pantheon. But the thing I have seen a lot of with this week's update is that you fight Rolk, and there are fucking 2 of them.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Imagine just fucking drop kicked.
Yeah. Imagine you're looking at one, you're like, yeah, I can dodge this guy, it's fine. And then one just like fucking sideswipes you. That's insane.
All those weirdos who like feet are gonna have a field day because
I feel like that,
2 rocks doing the steppies.
That might still be too much. Like, that's too much step on me until I'm dead.
I've seen Twitter.
Yeah, true. So yeah, I kind of want to go and find some clips of what that fight looks like, because one Rolk is legitimately hard enough. The idea of having to manage 2 of them, and you're going in at, what are we up to now? Like 15 under power cap?
Yeah,
Or capped at 15 under.
managing the buffs, trying to manage not getting hit, popping his crit spots times 2.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes me wonder like how they're managing stuff like enrage triggers. Like a lot of boss fights or encounters, you'll get to like you get 3 cracks at a DPS phase, and then enrage triggers,
Before
which
enrage
means
is
you've got
near.
1 left. But if you've got 2 of them, like are they removing enrage or are they just like adding a couple more checks? I'd be curious to know how that part of it works.
Yeah, actually.
Because I can't remember.
Thinking
I can't
about
remember
it.
if Rolk has an enrage.
I think so. Most of them have an
Yeah, they do.
enrage is near warning.
Yeah, I just think like we never really hit them once we got comfortable with the raids. It was like, the first time through is always going to be a bit rough, but then you get your routines down, you get your damage numbers up, and then it's like, cool, you get it done before that's even a problem.
I think for our first run, we did that lucky thing of like wiping early and then almost kind of fluking the clean run, which we've done. We did on King's Fall, where our mate Titan was like, "This is my last run, and then I've got to go."
That
And then we did
that
it,
King's Fall run was
and he
insane.
got Malice.
Well,
I
I think
streamed.
also
We
like
recorded it too, which is my favorite thing. It's like
I think
we streamed it.
I think the fire team was almost entirely dead, and he might have been the one to get that final shot.
Yeah.
It was. It is like the canonical wild raiding moment in Destiny that like is the kind of shit they put in trailers. Is like everybody's basically dead. This is the one last crack at it before you all have to leave or go to bed or whatever the fuck.
I'm just so glad that I
Yeah.
think one or both of us were streaming it.
Yeah, I can't remember. Were we streaming or just recording? Well, actually, no, I've built a new PC since then, so I don't know if I even have the video files.
Yeah. So I don't think with Rolk, I don't remember an enrage because
Yeah,
I don't think we either didn't get far enough to trip it or we got too
did it
much
fast
damage in
enough.
and didn't have to worry about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that was one where it was like the problem we were solving was like, don't push the damage, don't try to 2-phase it because we didn't have enough gas to like do the final stand. We would always like kind of, pardon the phrasing, edge Rolk of like get it close to the final stand, then just let it phase, and then have a
Yeah.
third phase on it just to have it be more comfortable.
Because I don't think Gramps and I were getting our riffs up quick enough
Right.
that we kind of had to stretch the phases out just so at least one of us or both of us had our riffs up. Which is our common go-to when we do a new raid for the first time. It's usually me and the other Gramps, the other group's warlock will do well.
Yeah.
Because it's safe.
It is safe, and it's, even after all these years, still effective as a strategy. Like, keep me alive,
Especially
please.
Deepstone.
Oh, Deepstone.
The final encounter, Deepstone.
Yeah, you need it. Well, no, you can definitely do without it, but it's just like a lot. Like
double wells is just.
Well, the thing too is like a lot of on Titan, like playing a Titan, a lot of the health benefit stuff is based on killing enemies to start restoration. When you're in when you're in the like leading up to the DPS phase in that Deep Zone Crypt boss fight, like there aren't enemies to kill. You're basically waiting to jump into a thing to avoid environmental damage. So having a well of radiance there is kind of the best fallback. Aside from like maybe like using healing grenades, but they were not really a thing when Deepstone Crypt came out.
Yeah.
Not for Titans.
Well and Div was the stack for us for a lot of raids for a really long time.
Yeah. And like Div's still good.
Well and Div.
Yeah. Still
Div
good.
still fucks.
Still good. So yeah, I do want to.
Really curious about this enrage thing for double Rolk now.
Yeah, I it's the thing because I haven't even done one Pantheon. I haven't really looked at like how overall the whole system works. But but I'm just so curious about what a double rock fight looks like that I might just go and like dig into it. Not necessarily go and try and do it. I feel like I still just want to do that first iteration of Pantheon and then just be done with it. Because I don't really have any interest in chasing that every week. Frankly, there's other shit I want to do. Like, there's a massive new Diablo 4 season that just dropped, and that is actually wicked fun. And I also don't want to, like, burn myself out before Final Shape comes out.
I'm back into ESO. Thanks, log.
How? What? I think I have Elder Scrolls Online in my Epic account because it was, like, one of their free games or something, but I've never actually booted it.
It's already a problem.
Damn. Don't make me do that. I'm already playing enough.
It's already a problem. Oh, also Cult of the Lamb, back into that because you can make the villagers smash now.
Oh, don't tell me that. Now I'm going to play that again.
And you can also make the villagers nudists, which is really funny.
Wow. Okay. I never finished that game. I never got that far into it, so maybe that's a good reason to go back, because I want to make the villagers be little freaks.
I love it. I love it so much that you would know this. I have a love of claw clips for my hair. And I found a lady who makes the crown from Cult of the Lamb, but in a claw clip.
Okay.
So I have a Cult of the Lamb claw clip on its way.
Hell yeah, dude.
Age myself even further as a millennial by being like, I have claw clips. And I actually have hair I can do up now.
Yeah. Unlike me, I got literally a haircut today, so no claw clips for me anytime soon, that's for sure.
2025, just grow your hair out. Just go for it, full send.
Like,
see how long it gets. A year of no cuts.
Well,
see how long it gets.
The thing is, like, every now and then that
shave it off at the end of the year for charity.
Every now and then that thought crosses my mind, and like for the longest time, I've had like some serious. This may be TMI. Some serious psoriasis issues going on. But as of like in the last few months, like went to a doctor about it, which I haven't done in a long time, and like am trying some things that seem to be working. That in terms of like it's just not a problem. So like that is actually a feasible option, but also like I don't know if I want that kind of upkeep because like my hair comes in thick, dude. I don't want to.
I was gonna say
with that.
You talking to has to get a haircut every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
December 31st, shave it. Grow it out for a year. ECB charity shave at the end of the year.
Okay, I'm trying to think of an acronym for ECB that is like related to hair, and also like the C could just be chillybin, but then like what are the E and the B?
True.
Every chillybin. No, that's nothing. Even chillybin bleeds.
Oh no.
Every chillybin braids. I don't think I could do braids.
Which is now people who do listen are going to be like, yes. Now you have to.
Breadlocks. It's nothing.
That's white people dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Breadlocks.
Yeah, because they're just yeasty and full
white
of
breadlock.
Full of bullshit. Okay. Speaking of little freaks, this was the segue I wanted to make like 2 minutes ago. Speaking of little freaks, we got some previews of some chest exotic armor coming in Final Shape, one for each class. And they are, essentially every class is getting a piece of exotic chest armor that has some element of little freaks about it.
They're all just weird.
Yeah, so
and I love it.
I'm gonna go with these in the order that you've put them in our show notes, which is also in the order of least to most annoying to pronounce. I think it's like tied. It's like there's two that are tied for easy, and there's one that is way too hard. Has no business being this way. So the first one is for Titans. It's called Hazardous Propulsion. the way that it works based on the like 30-second clip they put out. These are all just like 30-second clips they just like put out on social. The Titan one has it as propulsion. When you activate your class ability, it shoots out like 6 tracking rockets, it looks like.
Yeah, that was my understanding of it
Six
too.
may not be the number, but there's a bunch of them that like shoot out and then track to enemies. And notably, it says class ability usage. It is not just barricades. It works on
Yeah.
dodge. If you use that Arc Titan dodge ability, that's like the first thing they show in the first like 6 seconds of the video. It does it then too, which is
I
so
just
sick.
I just took a quick peek at like the description of each of the little clips, and I noticed that too as you were saying it. I was reading like the exact same line where
Yeah.
that's why I was like,
Yeah. The
oh.
idea of like, I'm going to like burst away from you and shoot rockets at you is deeply satisfying. That is some like anime mecha shit.
But also like in the little video on their Instagram, the Titan does like a little spin. A
Oh,
little a little twirl and the rockets come
I didn't
out.
even catch that. But yeah, and then they have another clip in there of like putting up the barricade and then they kind of shoot up over the top and then track
That's the little
down.
spin.
Okay.
So you do a little spin behind your barricade and they
Hell
come
yeah.
out. Yeah, like a fucking magical girl.
Yeah, so like that to me is maybe like, cuz a lot of the builds I have as a Titan main, the exotic armor that I tend to use is pretty generic in its purpose. Like, I mean, aside from Pyrogale, which is basically like, here's this very specific melee combo that I'm going for. But like, I love Heart of Inmost Light, which is just like making
It's like a
abilities
generalized effect,
do shit.
right?
Yeah. The idea of using this would probably make me want to try to build, like, craft a build around class abilities. But then it's a question of like, how good are these rockets actually? Because if this is just like a thing to make class abilities more relevant, it's like, well, I don't really use them that much to begin with. I don't want to like kneecap my entire build just to have these cute little rockets. So like, I'm interested in it, but it doesn't immediately scream to me that it's going to fit into something I'm already doing.
It's not like kickstarting any builds.
No.
Like all the prismatic stuff is kind of kickstarted a few build ideas in both of our brains.
Well, because the thing to remember too is like the stuff around prismatic, like the exotic class item, that's your exotic armor done. You can't use anything else. Yes, it gives you like this combo of 2 different exotic perks from across all classes, but stuff like this is your only exotic armor for your build. And I'm looking at it now. I'm not sure how I would fit this in, but I'm curious to get it and see how it actually see like how much damage does it do. What damage type are we looking at? Does it match your build, your like chosen class damage type? Because that might help me work out like, is this actually useful or just kind of a cool gimmick? Like tracking rockets are cool, but what else do they do?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And then
and we've only been given like 30 seconds.
It's
like,
nothing.
This is what it looks like.
Yeah. But then on to the Hunter one called Gifted Conviction. That one is a little more awkward to get off the tongue. The Hunter one is there's like, yeah, you create bouncing arc explosives.
Yeah.
You watched these clips just before. Like, where does it seem like that is fitting in? Is it around class ability as well?
I think it looks like a grenade.
Right.
It's yeeted like a grenade, so I don't. And the description. See, because neither of us are familiar with the hunter.
But I think the clip from memory, it involves a hunter like being in the air and a bunch of them kind of like shooting out in different directions.
Yeah, I see. For me, it doesn't make sense in my head, but I feel like if a hunter watched it, it would make sense. But neither of us are familiar with the hunter class.
No, not really.
But essentially, it just says create bouncing explosive arc. Arc explosives. Yeah, it looks like the hunter does the arc staff twirl and they come out.
Right. Okay.
Like it's that upwards, almost like arc staff. But it's like one of those things
Mm,
where, see, I can see the hunters in the comments talking about it, so they
yeah.
obviously understand what's happening.
Yeah.
Um, we're just like, this is fucking more twirly bullshit.
What?
Titan did a twirl, Hunter did a twirl. What in the Sailor Moon is this?
What in the Sailor
Um,
Moon, indeed.
so we wouldn't really be able to theorize like we did with the Titan on what's going on there
Yeah.
because we're not. Neither of us have really played Hunter at all. I haven't at all,
I
to be
al-
honest with you.
I also think I
Not one
fucking
bit.
I think I watched that video for like just one time through this morning as it came across my feed, and I was like, all right, it looks kind of cool, but like I'm not. I don't. I couldn't tell you the last time I played my hunter. I have one, but yeah, I don't know enough about the kit to be able to look at that and go, oh, that's where I would use that.
Yeah. Yeah. So if someone wants to let us know how they feel, a Hunter main or someone who plays Hunter wants to let us know how they feel about that one, just based on what they've seen.
Someone who knows at all how hunters work, sound off in the comments.
How Hunter work.
Yeah, sound off in the comments about fucking, what is it, gifted conviction. How you think it's going to fit into your builds, because I don't know. And then finally onto the warlock option. This thing, Mataidoxia, it is spelled Mataiodioxia, and that final.
I immediately got angry over that name.
Well, the final I in it has like a little accent over it, whereas the first I in it doesn't.
It looks like it's a Greek word, and someone in the Destiny subreddit who was like, hey, I actually speak Greek. In general, this word is used to describe things like glory or reputation or worship.
Right.
So
yeah, Mataidoxia, whatever. They haven't issued a pronunciation guide with this one, so frankly, like, all bets are off.
But they did that with tracks, the ones from the community event.
Oh, like Terrazippos?
They had Greek names as well that everyone was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So there's probably some meaning in this word that is like, in typical Bungie fashion, like kind of meaningful in a way that is not immediately obvious, but in terms of how this
probably integral to the fucking I mean, if it means like glory or worship, it could easily tie into like warlocks as a law.
True. The thing this does, tying it back to the Little Freaks theme, is it apparently shoots out a bunch of needles that will do like en masse strand suspend effects. The clip is basically like you can see like a dozen enemies and all of a sudden they are up in the air, just stuck, suspended.
It looks like it relies on warlock melee to trigger as well.
Yeah, and like as someone
it's another class dependent.
As someone who did that like strand suspend build around the Wishkeeper bow, suspend is actually like a pretty powerful effect because like it does some anti-barrier, one of them. Like it suspend is an anti-barrier anti-champion effect, sorry. I just can't remember which one. I think it's unstoppable. And then also like it changes how much damage you do against them, and like it's a pretty neat effect. It also just like stops them doing anything while they're suspended, which is pretty neat. So yeah, if this is something that is like tied into Warlock melee, there are ways to like loop that very quickly and recharge it. I could see this being kind of good for like mass PvE stuff.
It also depends on how many melee charges it costs to trigger too, because a lot of warlock stuff allows you to get multiple like charges on your grenades or your melees, depending on how you stack your exotic and your mods and artifact stuff.
I think either way, like you can.
It looks like it uses 3 charges, like 3 melees to set up.
You can craft a build that like regens that very quickly, though.
Oh yeah, you could shit out orbs or feed into the recharge cycle depending on what you've got set up. Yeah. But it does from the little 30-second, not even that 20-second clip that you get of it, it looks like it uses 3 melee charges. So it'll be interesting to see what that exotic does in terms of recharge rates, and then also if it just gives you those 3 charges or whether you have to, like, you know what I mean? Like what kickstarts
Yeah, do you have to go
that
through
run?
like 3 full melee charges of like it charging up?
Yeah. So like what do you do to get that? And then also does it affect melee charge rates and stuff like that? That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Now that I'm build pilled.
Yeah. Well, I think
Destiny 2 build pilled. I actually think about this shit now rather than ooh shiny.
I
Ooh,
think
does thing I like.
a thing that until recently I have not looked at enough is weapon perks in terms of like fueling a build. Like when I did that Pyrogale build, which is based around just like setting everybody on fire because that like feeds melee regen and all that sort of shit. But it's the combination of like Scorch and Ignition is really powerful in that build. And it wasn't until I looked at Incandescent, which is like essentially when you're doing sustained damage, it applies Scorch, I believe, is roughly how it works. And then generally, when you apply enough Scorch, a target ignites, aka explodes or catches fire or whatever. And I had the auto rifle out of Crota's End. It's like a 360 RPM, so really slow, but is like really accurate and has incandescent. And that gun on its own really speeds up the engine on that build. So for something like this, like getting, I cannot. There are so many fucking weapon perks at this point. I am sure there is one, but I cannot remember the names of them. That will feed you melee energy as you use the weapon. So there are so many ways that I think you could speed that engine up.
Yeah. Is why I want indebted kindness. I need it for my arc build.
Yeah, well, just fogged my glasses up with that cough. I could see it on the camera.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things once again where we don't like to theory craft too much based off teasers.
Yeah, based off fuck
But
all information.
Looking at the preview before we recorded the episode, I was like, I'm not actually sure how I would use this.
Yeah, same with the Titan
I
one.
love my little freak builds, don't get me wrong, but I love my strand builds. But I run a very particular strand build that has to do with necrotic grips and melees and stuff.
Yeah.
So who knows? It might stack nicely with my prismatic void combo or something. Like we've also got to take into consideration that these are also be coming out and we'll have access to prismatic, which might just completely change our playstyles once again.
Yeah, because if you go down the route of like, if you're incorporating strand into prismatic, there are things you can do with tangles that are kind of gross. And there's, that just opens things up a lot.
Like,
in theory,
the long distance melee abilities of strand is really good with necrotics. So I'm starting to think about how long distance strand melees could work with void, for example.
I will say too, like in terms of,
am I able to set off devour using like
probably? But I think, like, to your point about not trying to theory craft too much too soon, I still don't think we know enough about how prismatic actually functions in terms of like aspects and fragments, right? Like they've said there's a higher budget for things like aspects and I think fragments in particular. But I don't think it's going to be you can have everything from all 5. I think it might be a little bit more curated than that, just to like reduce how much balancing work they need to do.
Reduce how quickly the Bungie community breaks things.
Yeah, I mean, you look at like when they talked about,
we are very good at breaking things.
Yes, when they initially talked about the exotic class items, they were like, you will have 2 columns, and they are exotic perks from items across all 3 classes. But it is like, for each class, there is a set of 8 in each column. It is not everything available to you. So I am suspecting that Prismatic will function in a similar kind of way where it's a little bit more curated because they've taken the time to go, yes, it's broken, but this set is not too bad. Basically, like, yeah, you can do some weird shit, but like, it's some weird shit that we kind of understand and have messed with a bit.
Yeah, that's very true.
Mm.
Mm.
But we'll see. You know,
They look cool though.
They do look very nice.
You got a Discman in your chest.
Yeah. That's
time to put. I'm gonna put Demon Days in my homie's chest. Yes,
bro. As if it's not the new Knock Loose record.
I'm thinking about the stuff I had for my Discman.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So Hybrid Theory.
I was gonna say Hybrid
Demon
Theory.
Days.
Yep.
3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge.
Yep. Americana. The Offspring.
The Kerrang CDs. It used to come with Kerrang magazines, and they were basically mixtapes. And that's how I found the Bronx and Dillinger Escape Plan was through one of those CDs.
Yeah.
And Cancer Bats as well. Plug in Hybrid Theory to your chest.
Dude, there was a snowboarding game on PS1 that I had.
SSX Tricky or whatever it was?
No, it was like... It might have been an X Games branded game, but they'd done the disc in a way that if you put it into a like audio CD player, it would just play the soundtrack off the PS1 disc as if it were just a soundtrack disc. I can't remember the name of it.
I didn't have that with it, but I got the special edition of American Wasteland where it came with the game and the CD.
Oh yeah, okay. I remember getting a copy of like, it was either the first Tony Hawk's game or Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX out of like a Nutrigrain box.
Yeah.
And then they did a similar thing with like Age of Empires. It was just like, here's a fucking video game in your cereal box. And it was just there. It wasn't like, oh, there's a chance. It was like, no, it's in there.
They did that too with Pokemon games, but it wasn't a complete disc. It was like a weird, almost like ovular shaped disc.
Pokemon games have never come on a disc.
No, it's like, it wasn't like a game.
Oh, right.
Like a traditional Pokemon game, but it was a game that was Pokemon branded.
Right.
And you like went into Professor Oak's lab and there was a bunch of different games you could play.
Weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We're going to plug that into your Titan chest.
Yes.
Can you imagine if proximity? So it's like as you run past, it's like fucking crawling. But it's like
it's just like just a Tamagotchi just in the chest there.
It's like soft to loud as you run past, so all you hear is
that'd get real weird. All right. Other stuff this week. One.
Dev Insights.
So yeah, there is a traditional, we're coming up to a big expansion. Here's a blog post from the developers of like weapon tweaks and exotic tweaks. This one is like, they call it weapon tuning preview, but it's like exotic and non-exotic. The classic thing of like, here's specific named exotic weapons that we're tweaking, and also what we're doing for just like types of weapons. I haven't pulled anything specific out that kind of jumped out to me. There's something about the lament and them tuning down the amount of healing you get from it, because that is kind of like completely removing the risk reward aspect of getting up close to a boss.
Getting close, yeah.
And I get that. That makes sense. People complaining about a lament nerf, but it's like, yeah, but like there's no consequence there. You should, if you're getting up close to a boss, like you gotta get your shit together for that.
It's still a chainsaw and it still goes vroom.
Yes. There was some changes to
Osteostriga.
I saw was getting some people hot and bothered of like them introducing a cooldown essentially on the proliferation. So it wouldn't just be like constantly spreading.
God damn it! I have a build entirely around osteonecrotic and strand.
You and a lot of people, my guy. So look,
see it never happened.
Go have a look. There's some stuff towards the end of it where they talk about like in potentially future introducing new weapon types, maybe like archetypes. I'm not sure what they're getting at there, but it's sort of the tone is that of they've done a bunch of foundational work that makes it easier to do that kind of change now.
Hide your kids, hide your wife. We're coming for your favorite exotics.
That's always true. I'd like to see Anarchy get a little boost. It's been a while since it got
Little
nerfed.
boost. Little boosty.
Please make it relevant again. But outside of that, we did get one other exotic preview thing this week. So if you're
baby's coming home.
Here's the thing. So if you out there watching this, listening to this, are a Destiny old head, you will know the name Khvostov. KHV is not starting any word with starting anywhere with KHV is painful to a like native English speaker. But Khvostov is like,
what is the native beer of Russia? Kvass. So it's Khvostov.
Khvostov. When you first start playing Destiny, and I don't know if this is still the case, but when we did, you get a basic bitch white auto rifle, not even green or blue, the thing before that, and it is this gun, the Khvostov 7G. They're making that
such a good bullet. It was such a good gun too.
Yeah, and you know what? You get to have another crack at it. They're turning this thing into a fucking exotic. It's
hell yeah.
So sick.
I'm excited because I have fond memories. It was like my favorite gun for a really long time. But I have fond memories from newer Destiny 2 because someone in our fire team, shout out Alex, used to tank his power level by equipping his Khvostov.
Yeah, because it has 0 power rating on it. Yeah, he
fucking tank his power level.
He would be sitting in orbit in a fire team waiting to load into a raid or something. And
he'd drop from 1650.
You just watch it go down in chunks because he would have equipped one item and then another, and it'd be like, a 0 rated Khvostov, and then like a 10 rated Masquerader mask from Festival of the Lost, and like all of this old busted ass gear that has like a 600
greens and grays.
Yeah, but also like half it's got like a 600 power rating. It's like, how do you even have these numbers anymore? Why is this a thing?
It's just amazing. People who didn't know what he was doing just being like, Alex?
Yeah, he's found a way to go below the power floor. It's like, you shouldn't even be able to do this.
So many late nights queuing for raids and stuff and just freaking people out by watching him tank his power level.
So funny. Or
running around in the tower with all the green and grey gear on and watching characters physically double take.
Yeah, because he's got like Guardian
you would just
rank
see
8.
People a honk moon helmet.
So you should know better. You've clearly played this game a lot.
You would just see like Guardians start to follow him around or just as he ran.
It's so good. But now Khvostov's coming back with a new trick. Every
extra spicy.
Every 7th bullet will ricochet, apparently. And the way this looks in the clip is it's not like typical ricochet rounds, which bounce off surfaces, etc.
It's bouncing off ads.
It's like chain lightning. It like bounces from one enemy to another and just like does this shit. It's wild.
Sick. I'm so excited.
But I think
I'm so excited to get my hands on it.
The one thing I've seen in response to this is, but why, like, obviously they've looked at like Khvostov as it exists now, the non-exotic basic version. The number of bullets in it is not divisible by 7. So hopefully they changed that so that it's, the number of bullets in the mag is divisible by 7. Otherwise, that's just annoying. You're just going to be like losing shots on the last set of bullets.
Yeah. At the moment, very rare time, I'll say this. At the moment, I'm loving the community's reaction to this response because there's a lot of like, we're back, baby.
Yes.
And then another meme I found today that was really funny. It was like hard light Sims, and it's just them like it's the Evangelion of Shinji leant over in the chair, like having a crisis.
Actually, you mentioning hard light, one thing that was in that weapon tuning preview. So they talk about this thing called the fundamentals, which is the name of the perk on hard light and dead messenger and borealis. I think is the other one, the one that like lets you switch damage type.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they made a change a while back so that like when you swap weapons, it wouldn't reset it. They're making another update to that perk so that on death, it will retain whatever you had it set to. Because that's the thing that would always fuck me up when I would like run hard light in PvP just to be annoying. Is like I'd set it to a damage type that works with the build that I've got, but then whenever I die, it just like changes it back to whatever the default is, which I think for hard light is void, for example. And it's like, okay, now I've got to like hold the reload button twice to have it cycle to arc and then to solar. And it's like, I don't want to have to do that every time I respawn. And so I just stopped doing that. Stop running that gun.
The only time I've ever used hard light was in Savathun's puzzle.
The puzzle?
Yeah, you know how you had to shoot the little icons in order, but the element had to be matching.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, great for that.
That's the only time I've ever used hard light.
Yeah.
I've never actually used it in like PvP. I got it and I was like, oh, this is fun. Anyway, gnawing hunger.
There was a while there when auto rifles were really fucking good in PvP, and it like kind of dips in and out of the meta. And when that happens, and I'm playing PvP a bunch, like hardlight is like weirdly something I reach for because getting shots off around corners and stuff is so funny. Like it works way more than it should.
Yeah, I just never been driven to play with it. I probably will eventually. Like at some point, it'll become like everything else, where I'm like, today I'll say I've never touched this weapon. I don't see the point of it, and then in 6 months I'll be like, so I made this build.
Yeah, like I do want to go back to using dead messenger because it is like a wave frame grenade launcher that goes out in one wave in front of you and one sort of out on a 30-degree angle either side of it. Like, it lets you switch between arc, solar, and void.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Okay, I've never actually looked into that gun.
Yeah, exotic waveframe grenade launcher. You get it out of. It was like an exotic mission that was on Mars, and there were tanks right at the start of it. With the Cabal, you go into like a Cabal base. I forget the name of it.
Oh, I don't actually ever completed that mission.
Okay. I think you still can. You can still get that gun. It's a good gun.
I think it was one of those things where it's like, I need someone to help me on it, and then it just never happened. And then I just like never followed it up.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're making those guns all work the way I wish they always had.
Yeah.
Which
Subscura, by the way.
That's the one. Yeah. So those will all maintain this state. What do they say? Across death or respawn. So like if you get joining allies or you die and respawn, it will remember what you had it set to.
That is good.
That is good.
I've actually, as someone who has not really used any of those weapons too intensely, I didn't know it actually reset it.
Yeah.
Now that I do think that's a change that I agree with.
Yeah. There's another thing like that always annoys me, and I don't think they've ever called it out, but I don't know if there are like conditions to this, but what I've found is like if I go into my super, it will default it like when I come out of the super, the weapon I have equipped is my primary slot all of the time, as opposed to whatever I had equipped before I activated my super. And sometimes that matters.
No, I actually picked up on that.
Yeah. So like if I'm
I launch a super and then I'll just instinctively go back to whatever I was using.
yeah, but like if I'm running, say for example, I'm running a solar build and I'm running Sunshot as my exotic, chances are Sunshot is doing like 90% of the work in terms of weapons, especially if I'm in PvP. So if I use my super, I don't want to go back to my primary or my kinetic, like the primary slot, because like that's not doing anything for me. I want it to go back to Sunshot, which I was using before.
I've never actually picked up on that. I think I've just been conditioned by the game just while I'm in my super to go back to.
Yeah, I think that there might be like one or two other cases where that kind of thing happens. And I forget about it sometimes, and then it happens again, and I'm like, oh yeah, this sucks. Please remember what I was doing. Please put it back. Give me my gun.
Yeah. Interesting. It's funny how I've never picked up on that. Like I said, maybe I've just been conditioned by the game to not think twice about it.
Yeah. But when I see changes like this with hard light and that, like you definitely can work this out.
Yeah.
You can remember what I had it set to.
Please. Please.
Please.
Please.
Please put my gun back in my hand.
Please.
Please, you know what I was doing.
Please, princess. You don't want daddy to get angry. Please, Bungie. You don't want Chewie to get angry.
This took a turn I was not expecting, and I don't appreciate.
You know, if you start the Minecraft kid voice, it just escalates into the Discord mod voice.
Yeah, I know. That's probably a good time to end this episode then.
I have to go. I'm scared.
I have to go be angry in another room. I have to go punch some drywall.
Mum, can you come pick me up? Meckie's doing the Discord mod voice again. Mum, I'm scared.
Fortnite and Coca-Cola. Yippee.
Yippee. Isn't that cool?
Okay, we are devolving into like late night Discord energy, so we should just call it a wrap.
Send it
out of here. I'm gonna fucking edit this. I'm gonna put it into the internet because I'm going away on the weekend to run a half marathon like a fucking lunatic.
Psycho.
Yeah, that means I basically need to edit it tonight / tomorrow morning. I don't know. And then
you're deep in the Melbourne to marathon runner pipeline. Everyone I know in Melbourne is like training for a different variety of marathon. So many people have gotten into running during the pandemic, and then we're like, the next logical step is marathon.
Yeah, no. So I have done 2 marathons. I don't think I want to do more of them just because the amount of training I need to do in any given week is huge. Like, oh, I'm going to go do a 30K run. Like, no, that's hours. No, thank you. Whereas like a half marathon is like, it's still an hour plus.
And it's an accomplishment.
Yeah. But like, it also doesn't mean that like my training during the week is eating up too much time. But yes, I have done distance running since like 2011, dude. But I also know that a lot of people got deep into it in the last few years because it was like, you can't socialize. What can you do by yourself? Fucking run.
In saying that, we are both people who are healthy body, healthy mind, and we both work in software and play video games. So we also know how important it is to get moving.
Yes, for sure. So I find ways to force myself to do it. One of them is running is kind of the only way I get through podcasts I want to listen to because like I don't commute that much anymore.
Yeah, that's home workouts and home calisthenics for me. It's like get down on the edge of the couch and do squats and stuff while I'm watching something or listening to something.
Yeah.
I'm very into the cozy exercise trend that's going on at the moment. I fully agree with it. And I highly recommend any of our listeners chuck something on Netflix, chuck a movie on, start squatting, even stretching.
Yeah, I signed up to do I think it's called like Push for Better. It's like a push-up challenge through June that raises money for like Lifeline and stuff like that. But it's something like 3,200 push-ups across the month. That's a lot. I don't regularly do push-ups, so I gotta figure that out.
I'm an idiot who signed up for a Spartan race.
Yeah, that's dumb, dude.
I think I told you last time we spoke. I was like, oh, by the way, Spartan race.
It's like people talk about doing Tough Mudders. It's like, one, that's a half marathon with obstacles. And two, you're just going to get messy. What's wrong with you? Just run on the
I
road.
love mud.
No. No,
Little piggy loves her mud.
if I wanted to do that shit, I'd join the military, and I'm never doing that. So, bye.
The way they got me to sign up was they approached me, co-workers, and said, you can go full goblin mode on this. And I went, I would like to go full goblin mode.
Yeah, okay. I need to know more, but that's an off-air discussion.
ECB says, move around a little bit.
It's good for you. If you want,
within your ability.
Hey, if you want like a real low stakes sport to get you started, try disc golf. I do that also. I got a whole stack of frisbees over there.
Ooh, the Titans into frisbees. Who would have guessed?
I've been into frisbees for so long, dude. Since like 2008. I played disc-based sports.
That's my favorite thing about how well we know each other is I can just say shit to trigger you because I know it's wrong.
Well, also, like, that one's very true. I do love frisbees. They're a lot of fun.
It's like playing a Titan in real life.
Yeah, it is now. Like, it used to involve more running around. Now it's just, I walk around a park for 2 hours and throw frisbees at stationary objects.
Fuck yeah.
It's sick.
The sun.
Yeah. All right, we're done.
You recommend disc golf. I recommend cozy fitness.
Hey, disc golf can be cozy. Just put on a nice jacket, but stay warm. It's cold now, at least where I live. This has been Erico Blueberry. Thank you for tuning in. Please tell a friend. Just one. Just one will do. It's like a pyramid scheme. You tell one, they tell one. It's a very narrow pyramid. But we'll get there. With enough time, that pyramid will encapsulate the earth.
And don't worry, no one makes money in this pyramid scheme.
No. No, God, no. Like, all you have to do is go, hey, do you like Destiny 2? You should listen to this podcast.
Do you like background noise and people shooting the shit about a game
that they barely play? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like,
do you want it to sound like someone's home when you've left the house? Erica Blueberry.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? If it gets the numbers up, I'll take it.
Do you want your dog to have company while you're at work?
That's
Erica Blueberry.
Hey, to all my dogs out there, woof woof, bark bark, tear up the couch, shit on the floor. They won't kick you out. Keep doing it.
Be very good boys and girls. Proud of you.
Yeah. But also shit on the floor. Anarchy. Let's go.
Dogs rise up.
Yeah, they nerfed anarchy in Destiny, so you have to bring anarchy into real life, and that means shitting on the floor and tearing up shoes. That's a dog thing, right? Tearing shoes apart.
That also goes for our human listeners. Be the dog you want to be in the world.
Yeah. Shit on the floor. No, shit on the floor in the cop station. That's what you should do. All cops are buttholes.
Including the class raiders, the Paw Patrol.
Like, comment, subscribe, etc. We'll see you next time. Thank you for stopping by and indulging us.
Fireman Sam is cop adjacent.
Homie, we've done 90 of these fucking things. God
damn it.
All right, bye.
Bye. Love you all. Parasocial relationship.